Right, we are out of here. Time to go. All cameraed off, front roof off. Any boats coming? No, we've got a few minutes. So, my plan is to push this boat across the cut. I've got to go backwards and turn around in that marina behind me, so almighty shove as much as I can. Oh. What's happening now, the wind's caught me and it's blowing me faster than I wanted to be going, but it's not too bad. A little bit of a bump on the rear quarter, whatever it's called. If I try and reverse the boat, it will just come into this bank anyway because the wind's blowing this way. So I'm gonna go back about 200 yards and then try and make this turn. I've been here for a little while, to the point that I got a reminder email, and in the meantime I've been getting to know Harry and a couple of friends of his, and they're absolutely diamond geezers, honestly. But it looks like there's a huge gap to play with, just a little bit further on, and I think that's where I'll go to make the move. It's like the end of an era, because I've seen Harry and his mates, like so often, that I've almost become one of the lads. But they're just brilliant, honestly. Just so helpful, you know. Just absolute gentlemen. Right, there's the gap. That's the gap I'm going to aim for, and it is enormous. So let's see. Just taking the boat for a walk. I'm just taking her for a walk. She prefers it this way. Right, we're here. This is the spot. Stop the boat. Yeah, front end out as hard as I can. I'm just hoping I haven't got boats coming around, headed my way. Now my push off before was decidedly lethargic. No, it's not done it. I'm gonna have to go back. Turn off. Give myself a run up. I've got to give myself a run up to this. And what I'm doing, I'm pushing the back end against the bank, and it's going to kind of spring the front end out. You've got to be super careful because the gap is small. The gap is pretty small. And it's not like hitting the bank here. Like I can't afford to hit the far side because it's all boats. So I've got no sort of leeway. There we go. Right. So what I've got, I'm flat against the cut. Sorry, I'm flat across the cut. Now I'm going backwards, so I'm going to give myself a bit more room forward. I go forward here. It's not as much space as I thought it would be, but it's quite doable. Get me away from those boats in front. I want to show you the diving helmet on the front of Danny Boy. It's the best boat artefact I have seen in forever. There we go. And we're finally off. There we go. Cheers, guys! Right, anyway, great news. We are on our way. And farewell to the beautiful Streethay Wharf and the not so beautiful A38, which is its constant and noisy companion. And farewell for the time being to Harry and Blue and the friends. Just absolute, honestly, now and again, right, you know, you'll see a couple of young lads on boats and stuff. A couple of likely looking lads, you know, what you think are likely looking lads. And, and since the sun's out and we're going to be covered by trees, obviously I need protection. I'm not sure exactly how safe this is. I think I've mentioned it's actually designed for use with horses. I need to just cut the speed a little bit. 1000 RPM, yeah, just over tick over. That's better. Yeah, I just sort of spray it at random in places where I know they try and land to discourage them. If this sun stays out, the sun wasn't supposed to stay out. I've not got my sun hat. If it stays out, I don't think it's going to stay out. It is an entirely theoretical problem, the sun, today. In 10 minutes it'll be gone. It's mainly cloud. We're on our way, right, so, yes, we're on our way. So the journey continues. The reason I'm sort of going on, we're on our way, journey continues, we're always on our way, you know, sort of. But I've been stuck there for far longer than I would normally stop. Like I did 2 weeks there, went down to Whittington and then went back there, and you can't really do that. It was to get the boat fixed, you know what I mean, but CRT aren't really, if you've got a major engine problem, I don't want to slag them down, they'll, you know, if your engine's broken down, they're not going to be silly and say get your boat off my canal, you know, it's not. But it's got to be a major problem for them to do that. And I don't think having your diesel central heating bust counts as a major problem, maybe. I mean, having no stove in the winter, that is a major problem. So heating can be an issue, but not in like late June. So I'm afraid, quite rightly, they sent me the email. I was waiting as long as I could because the guy kept on getting sick. One day he was well, the next day he wasn't, and he was struggling psychologically as well with some recent issues. I'm not going to say anything about it because it's entirely personal and private. Water. Yeah, it's entirely personal and private. I'm not even going to say his name or anything about him, the guy who fixed the heater, because it's his business and he's not mad keen on, you know, becoming a global star as he would on this channel. But you know, he's had a bit of a bad time in every sort of way, you know, physically, mentally, everything really. He's been struggling, and he was struggling to find time, you know, to come and fix it. You know, the guy does a full day's work, and he mainly works on boats, I think. The last thing he wants to do is, you know, 6-7 o'clock at night, come and work on another boat. So it wasn't massively appealing to him. Even, I mean, I paid, but you've got to pay, you know. You've got to. If you're going to take up 2 hours of somebody's time, somebody who works on boats for a living, even though it's a friend, and they would do it for nothing or nearly nothing, you know. He was talking about, oh, well, I'll, you know, just give us a tenner, give us 20 quid. And this is to remove my central heating unit, which I'll show you one of these days. Take it off, dismantle it, strip it down. There's some noise. Is there a bird in there? Anyway, strip it down, you know, for a fair bit of work, and clean it out. And that was 20, that's all he would take off me. I offered him more, and that's all he would take was 20 quid. Now it didn't work, but you know, that wasn't his fault. He did his best. I'm sure we'll get it working. It needs a glow plug. That's King's Orchard Marina. There's something I could do with from an oil. Right, okay, well I'm going to have to do a service soon. What I try and do is I try and do a service more often than I need to. Officially it's every 200 hours. I think they changed it to every 250 hours, but I stick to 200. How can we get my foot down here? There's no boats. Oddly enough, all the boats that were moored here about a week and a half ago, whenever it was I came past, they've all gone. Be a cracking place to moor because you've got boats, really safe. No, it's no cracking place to moor, I'm talking rubbish. There's not a shop within 2 miles. And getting to the shop, sort of, the A38 that you have to cross the A38, and it's effectively motorway speeds, and it's really busy. It's just a pain having to get across it. But what's interesting though, there's no boats. Now there was something like, I feel like half a dozen boats moored here when I came down to stop in Whittington. I went down to Whittington just to sort of, to make a move, so CRT didn't tell me off, but it wasn't far enough. And stupidly I came straight back. You can't really do that, you've got to move on. CRT will not let you come back, even if it's just one move. Anyway, you know. So now I've got a bad boy email, and you can't afford to get those things. If you get 3, you get put on a restricted license for 6 months, and I don't know what happens if you get another one in that period. But you never want to get 3 in less than 6 months. I think it's 6 months. You're safer saying a year. You don't want 3 move on emails in a year. My last one was a year ago. I think it was on the River Weaver. After I got blacked, I went back to the same spot, came out of the blacking place, stupidly went back to the same mooring where I was, and got spotted there. And quite rightly they said, you know, we spotted you here 2 weeks ago, here you are again. I could have explained that I'd been in the getting blacked. Anyway, it doesn't matter really. There's no real excuse I could use, which is fair enough. Sometimes you've got to take it on the chin. It's a stupid thing to do. So anyway, I made a short move, didn't work out. They still told me off, just to wait for a chance till the guy was fit enough and well enough to fix me central heating. Now it got done. Thank God we didn't get the old one fixed. There just wasn't time. We ran out of time, and with 3 days left, once I got the email, I thought, right, we've got 3 days, I've got to go. I can't afford to get a second email. Cannot do that. So what I did, spider down there. So what I did was I said, right, let's abandon the second. I'm slightly distracted. We're coming up to a very narrow, reedy section, and I can't see what's around the corner. This is the bit I don't like. It's the bit where you hope there isn't a boat coming, because we'll have a lot of messing. It's only a couple of 100 yards. I feel like I'm not going. I'm doing 1200 RPM. There's no point. I'll do 1250. There's no point getting speed up today. It's something like a 7-mile cruise. There's no locks. Theoretically, no drama of any sort. Just a nice, pleasant cruise. Any rain will be sort of minor. It's not going to be heavy rain. We hope and we trust. Not seeing millions of boats on the move, so that's nice. I won't be ducking and dodging in every bridge hole with a boat coming the other way. So it should be a nice little cruise, and the only potential fly in the ointment I've got to think of a better phrase, haven't I? Or just a different phrase. I can't keep saying fly in the ointment. But the only potential fly in the ointment is the brew. This is called Machu Picchu. I realised just what kind of a coffee critic doesn't even name the brand. So this is the Co-op brand. Because I've been here that long, I'm using the Co-op for like everything basically. It's the shop is about, I think it's 1.7 miles away. It's a bit of a route. But anyway, so Machu Picchu, strength 4, that's their rating, not mine, strength 4. So it's got a bit of a kick to it, in theory. And it's Central American, no, South American Machu Picchu, isn't it? I'm guessing from the brand name, the product name, that it's South American anyway. I don't know. Listen, shut up and drink. I can feel the heat off it. I didn't even drink any. I was being so cautious not to burn myself because that is proper hot. It's been in the thermocup, unopened. There's a strategy with the thermocup. I just want to say this for all this sort of fellow thermocup lovers, obsessives like me. When you've got a little thermocup with a tiny aperture, open it for about 10-15 minutes or so. Let the coffee cool down to drinking temperature, then seal it. Because look, you don't want coffee to stay hot for the full 4-hour cruise. I don't care about that. I don't mind getting the thing drunk over a period of like an hour. Coffee strategy, coffee drinking strategy. This is so educational. And some beautiful views as well, by the way, which I'll talk about in a minute. But first of all, the coffee review, I've got to give this a go. I feel like it's going to be too hot. That is hot. Hot and not great. It's not my best effort. Might as well let's call it what it is. It's drinkable. I'll manage. I'll survive. It's got almost like an orangey flavour to it. I can't describe the flavour because I don't have properly functioning, I was going to say nose buds, smelling things, whatever they are, the sensory organs. I haven't got them, or enough of them, and or they're broken anyway. So I don't smell things and taste things in the same way that you normally would. I'm just working off of taste, not smell. And it's a slightly, well, it's a very different experience, isn't it? It changes the experience of eating and, you know, drinking hot drinks and things an awful lot. So it's too hot. Can't review it. Its time will come. So I'm just going over some pylons, and I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to slow down. Yep, thousands, that'll do. Massive pylons. So I'm not turning, I'm not stopping theoretically. I may do, may have to stop for a comfort break. But in theory, I'm not stopping. I'm definitely going to have to stop. I've had one coffee and 2 glasses of water, so a stop will be needed. I don't know what people would be doing more in here. There's a pub further down, the Plough. Maybe there, but there's no shops. Oh, from the Plough you can get into Lichfield on a bike, yeah. It's about 2 miles into Lichfield from the Plough. It's not a short. It's about 2. In fact, it's about 2.5 from where I was. It's a good old stretch. You're not handy for Lichfield. Right, so I'm just going to go back to 1,000. I'm seeing little midgeon flies and things knocking about. So hopefully these people will appreciate my magnanimity and gentlemanliness in going nice and slow for them. So let's have have a look at a couple of these moored boats. There's one here called Teasel, which I think is a brilliant name. It's one of those days where you hope that people will understand if you do go a bit fast past them. You know, it's not because you're an idiot or selfish. It's the wind. Yeah, this is the plough. It's nearer than I thought. Well known by boaters, this place. I could actually get my foot down and past all the moored boats, and I'm still struggling with it. So there's a giant railway bridge. You will have just heard the train there. And of course, I came past this, the plough, and even further a couple of weeks ago. I came down here for a change of scenery and to avoid getting into trouble with CRT. Obviously my ploy didn't work, but now I'm making a proper move. That, by the way, is Lichfield Cruising Club. It's like a small arm of a canal. I think it goes on for a good few hundred yards. And I think also there's a boat ahead of me moored, so I'm going to take some speed off. There's moored as well. You get that thing, I've talked about it many times, you get that thing where you're in trees, you're doing tick over, and you're going along quite nicely because there's no wind. And you're like, oh yeah, this is fine. And then all of a sudden, it's not fine. It opens out, the wind, and in seconds, literally in just a few seconds, the front end of your boat can be blown right across the canal. But what's nice, what I like about this today anyway, is no great boat traffic. And that's very welcome. Well, I usually make a decent estimate of the distance. I sort of look at it as the crow flies, and then I add on for the bends and the loops, of which there are sometimes many. Ow! I thought it was cool enough to drink, sorry. It wasn't very dignified, was it? Not quite cool enough. Will be soon. Nice. And approaching some moored boats after this bridge hole, so let's just take it easy. Take it easy, sir. Take it easy, sir. Take it easy. You people. I don't know, just I'll get rid of that. And I feel like I'm just going to have to give it just a little bit to pull away from this GRB in front of me, as the wind's taking me into, or trying to. Yeah, I had a terrible day, terrible incident on near Nantwich, north of Nantwich, when my daughter Emma was on board, and we came out. It's the classic situation I just talked about. There was a massive, it was 40 mile an hour crosswards, properly windy, really windy. But we forgot about it, I forgot about it, because there were all trees. Suddenly there were no trees anymore, and before the boat was even fully out into the open, the front end was coming across so fast, and I was going to tick over, so I had no energy to steer. Boat went across, and I ended up bumping into a boat. I wasn't going fast, but I ended up bumping into a boat on the right hand side on the towpath. who was highly aggrieved, and I don't blame her either, to be honest. I was absolutely mortified. That was the last time I think I hit a boat, and that was something like 2.5 years ago. So I'm not doing too bad. Oh, hello. We've got some kind of a spider. Got some kind of a long-bodied spider. It isn't even a proper spider. I'm thinking, am I allowed to kill this one? It's as ugly as sin. It's partly white, and it's got some kind of an elongated body. Guys, I'm really sorry about this. I feel like it's too ugly. I'm sorry, honestly. I don't normally kill spiders, right? That wasn't a proper spider. It was a long, thin body. I mean, it was a spider, but it was. I haven't got an excuse. I shouldn't have killed it. It just looked weird, though. It just looked wrong. I mean, I don't like the ones that do look like spiders, proper spiders, but that looked wrong. Proper long. It had the body of like a long, thin fly, but with the legs of a spider and no wings. I don't want that. Something. I heard a buzzing noise then. I don't want something like that creeping around the stern. But anyway, you know, no problem traffic wise. It's nice and calm. So I feel like it's going to be a calm cruise. So much so, I think I can sit down in the classic sort of narrow boaters pose. Sit down for a bit. It's not like standing on the stern is exactly hard work, to be fair, but you know, you can sit down, why the hell not? Okay, going in for a second go of this Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, that's it, isn't it? Give it a stare. A bit too close to the towpath. I'm on the wrong side of the flaming canal. At least get in the middle. When you're cruising along, generally stay in the middle, because then it's less further to go when you do have to move. I'm going to see the odd horse fly round here. I've got some repellent on, but I feel like I don't know if it's going to be enough. If I get some determined ones, sometimes they don't. Pretty sure that was one. Anyway, let's get a quick review in before I'm bitten to death and eaten alive by that's a horse. That's got to be a horse like that. Can we do this review, or am I? Okay, well, do you know what? To be fair, right, let's do the review. Now, two issues. One, my crafting of the brew. Did I get the proportions right? This is the equivalent of about 1 1/4 mugs. So I sort of put in what I thought was roughly enough coffee and honey and milk. Well, evaporated milk. For 1 1/4 brews. Did I get it right? Sort of. It could have done with a bit more coffee. It's not strong enough. So, but that's my problem, you see. Let's not conflate my poor workmanship with a poor brew, because it might be a decent brew. There's a boat coming, so I'm going to have to see how much space I can afford to give this guy. That looks pretty decent for him, I think. He can make do with that, and I'm not in too much jeopardy. Hiya. We got a decent day for it today, I think. Yeah, we have now. Oh, does he know something I don't? Okay, well, to be honest, if the forecast has changed, and if it is going to get a bit hairy, by which I mean rainy, the wind I can sort of deal with. It's a pain But it's not so much discomfort, just, you know, be careful, don't bump into things, all that. The rain's more difficult to deal with, isn't it? It just gets into everything. In the winter, I must be honest, that cruise to Macclesfield, that was horrible. It was Macclesfield, wasn't it? Because it was a freezing rain as well, so my hands were freezing cold. I couldn't get the gloves on because my hands were soaked. All the phones had conked out because I'd used them that morning. I'd used cameras and things going up the Bosley flight, so everything was flat before I even started. Then one of my phones, I think my phone died, yeah, of exposure, I think, just being sat on the stern. Which one died? It was this one, the one I was using as a rear camera, and an actual phone. That one died. Anyway, enough of my belly aching about phones. I think I'll cut the revs a little bit, go past this GRP. Is it a GRP? No, it's narrowboat. It's just a really unusual narrowboat. I've got to be a bit careful. The sun's out properly now. I've got to be a bit careful. Don't want to lose too much speed. There's a cat in the boat. Look. He's got his cat in the tender. Cat in the tender and another cat, so at least two cats. You know, I don't like sort of things around, don't like clutter that much. I try and avoid it if I can. On a boat it's almost impossible, so you'll always see some degree of clutter. You're never clutter free, not on a boat. Just it's not, you're just not. You might as well accept, that's a fact you might as well accept before you even get near the thought of buying one. You're going to have to live with very limited storage space and significant clutter. Let's get back up to speed. So, right, so looks like we're horsefly free for the time being. So, resuming the coffee review, my craftsmanship is terrible. Didn't put enough milk in. It was a rush job. I'd filled up with water and I wanted to get away from the wharf because, you know, they have other customers who want to park there. Someone breasted onto me while I was there filling up, and I was only there half an hour. The tap is incredibly fast, fastest tap I've ever seen to fill up a tank. Anyway, so I just wanted to get going, get out of their hair. So I rushed it, and this is the result. I didn't take me time. Very sad. So I didn't do the best job with the tools available, with the Machu Picchu. But it has potential. I think you could get a decent brew out of it. It's a boat coming, right? There's a boat coming towards me, so I'm going to let him come through the bridge hole. I'm going to steer for the far bank, and I'm going to hover, I think. I'm just going to go forward, tick over. Very, very slowly. Right. Morning. We're coming into Whittington now, and as I say, I made a visit to Whittington 2 weeks ago for a few days to, as I've said, to do my obligated move. So I've done this little stretch, but shortly I'll be on a stretch which is new. Yeah, this coffee's weird. It's got a sort of an orangey. It's not citrus, almost like orange peel. Very strange. An orangey. I wouldn't say it was a tang. An orangey overtone. I'm turning to a proper review, aren't I? An orangey sort of an overtone, but not sharp, bitter. As I say, more like orange peel, a hint. I can't describe it. I think if I had a working nose, I mean, I can use my nose to breathe, but you know, obviously not to smell. If I had a working smelling nose, I think I'd do a better job of these reviews. But anyway, I made a rubbish brew. That's the bottom line. Longest coffee review I've ever done, and I think possibly the worst as well, the dullest. But I made a crap brew, and the brew is not that fantastic. The Machu Picchu, it's sort of competent, just. It's not a great brew. I'm not a fan of the orange overtones. I do like more coffee. But I found some very variable coffees, and I've tried loads. Last couple of months I've been picking coffee up from everywhere. Tesco's own brand, I've had Asda's own brand, I've had Co-op, I've had some expensive ones, Taylor's, you know, you name it. I've tried loads. Some very posh looking houses with this beautiful little launch on the right. Amazing little thing. I'd just be worried about it getting hit. You know, like leaving it parked on the. They've made a mooring. There's moorings all along here. Noddington Wharf. So we're at the top end of a little town called Whittington, which lies alongside the canal on the right hand side. The canal sort of curves around and goes south, and Whittington's is this. And I think it's a pretty well-to-do town. I visited the Co-op a couple of times in the few days I was here, and everybody was very well spoken. No sign of scallywags. Yeah, it looked great. You know, nothing to worry about whatsoever. So going in for another go. Good drinking temperature, but not a great brew. Not a great brew. I feel like I've let the site down. I've let you down. I've let me down. I wonder if the fish would fancy a bit of it. Not enough sweetener either. Lacks a little bit of sweetness. I can normally live with that, but it's lacking in too many areas, that brew. I don't think the coffee's that great that it's made from. So I'm just going slowly past the Admiral Benbow here. I think now, that's amazing little boat that. It's got like a curved roof. Looks like a proper old style narrowboat. Proper vintage. We are now on our way. We're doing 1300. There's no boat traffic that I can see. There's no moored boats. So I think it's time to sit back and enjoy the trip, frankly. I think I'll have a quick map check. I'm on a bend, so I'm watching. I'm not daring to take my eyes off of the bend yet. Bit of a sharper turn than sort of what I was ready for. There's a chunk out of the bridge. You see? Now I get a bad press, but look at that chunk of rock out there. Chunk of brick, I mean. Horrendous. I feel like we're leaving Whittington. I don't want to come down. I've said this before. I don't want to come down on those little local shops in villages or the outskirts of towns or whatever. You know, I don't want to come down on them for not having much stock. Like, they don't have a lot of variety of products. They don't have a lot of volume of products, you know, so they run out, and it's just, there's one or two I've been into, and you'll see like one block of orange cheese in the fridge, highly processed orange cheese. You'll see like a packet of ham that's one day before its sell-by date, and it's slightly green, or, you know, doesn't look right. Yeah, and it's rubbish anyway. Even when it was first manufactured and sold, it was poor quality, overly sweetened ham, you know, that kind of thing. But it just, they spoil the taste of it when they sort of sweeten it up. I don't know what they do with that cheap ham, but they ruin it basically. Anyway, I don't want to spend the whole day bitching, but what I'm saying is those small shops are sort of useless. Like my left leg, for some reason, my left leg and knee have stiffened up a little bit. Nice. Okay, so this is now 1 boat wide, 1.5 boats wide, so I've got to pay attention here. If things go wrong here, i.e. a boat comes at me, it's going to be an interesting episode. So we're just hissing our way through the reeds as they sort of stroke against the side of the boat. Like, I felt like that was the right word. The reeds stroked against the side of the boat, making sort of sss noise. And then I thought, somehow that sounds slightly naughty. But yeah, this is seriously overgrown. And I just, you know what, you could, if you did this on like a Saturday, on a sunny day, you know, in the school holidays, you're definitely going to meet a boat coming the other way, and you're just going to have all sorts of palaver and messing about. Now, sometimes, like, it's fun, it's a laugh, you know, whatever. Yeah, I'm being a bit of a Grinch, aren't I? I'm being a bit of a misery canal Grinch. It does teach you to handle your boat better. By the time I'd done a summer on the Llangollen Canal, I got really good at hovering in one place waiting for a boat to pass. I could hover with the best of them, unless it was really windy. So I think now we're past Whittington, we're on the properly southward leg. Basically next stop London is my sort of longer term plan. It's very rural. I'm now seeing sort of wooded areas and hills. They are higher, they are 100 feet higher than where I am. So there are some hills around here. And I just want to see how far it is. I feel like it's probably about 4 miles now. Maybe it's 5 down to Tamworth. Oh, look at the little chimney company. Guys, if you need a chimney, look out for this boat. Little chimney company, find us on Facebook. I bet you they do some lovely stuff. They've got a little butty attached to them at the back. Beautiful sign. Gonna wait for these guys here. So I successfully hovered. That is narrow, yeah. He's not wrong. Bloody good job I met him there, actually. I was thinking, oh, pain in the arse, you know. Boat coming towards me and all that. First world problems, God. So the northern edge of Tamworth, it's only about 2 miles, but we're not going there. There's bugger all there. We're going a bit further in, so it's 3 1/3 miles, and there's 2 loops. So I would say it's at least 4 miles. Here's a boat. It's always on a bend, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous little Jack Russells. Now what the guy did there, because he was on the outside of the bend, I was on the inside, I had a bit more space, and the wind took him as well, I think, across into the bank. So now he's working his way along the bank because the wind's trapped him. Most regrettable. I have been in that situation many times. So yeah, we're a couple of miles out of the outskirts of Tamworth. If I'm right and it's 4 miles, crow flies, then it's 2 hours. And I feel like there's got to be a comfort break involved. I don't really sort of need one yet, to be honest. It's drinkable. Listen, you know, if I hadn't had a coffee for a month, I'd be over the moon with it. So there is that. But unfortunately, I had a coffee this morning, which was much better. So the sooner the match, I won't get in the Machu Picchu again. Sorry, Co-op. You're a lifesaver. Like I said, there's so many of those little small towns, villages close to the canal where, you know, there would have been a corner shop in years gone by with very, very limited options, quite often anyway. Some posh villages, right, they'll have like really posh local farm produce. They'll double up as a little mini outlet for the local farmer, producer, whatever. And they're nice, you know, they do have some of them have really nice stuff. The one at Tattenhall, I saw this like a spa, and I was like, oh God, a spa, you know, who needs that? But of course, at the far end of the shop, there's all this specially made local produce, absolutely top-notch stuff. So yeah, not always what you think. So where was I? Yeah, so that's why I like the Co-op. They're very samey. Like, I would go mad eventually. I think I'd lose a lot of weight, which, you know, let's be honest, would be no bad thing if I was forced to eat from the Co-op and nowhere else, because there's only so many things that I actually like from the Co-op. It's all decent stuff. They're a bit overpriced, to be honest, compared to what you'll get in a big supermarket, but these are small retail establishments, you know. They're not easy to reach sometimes in rural places. They don't have a huge customer base. So, you know, they're working on a different business model, the Co-op and the corner shops. So I get why they're more expensive. I get why they have to do it. That's not a complaint. Sun's a bit weird. It's in and out. There's a horsefly on the solar panel. Probably scoping me out for a move. That's what it'll be doing. It'll be yeah, that's a bloody horsefly. Bastard. Sadly, this stuff doesn't kill them, my repellent, but it should. It definitely should repel them. But this is the deal in the rural areas, you know. It's all lovely. Yeah, it's, oh my God, it's a horsefly, and it's trying to get close into me. I swear to you, right, that horsefly sat on the solar panel for a couple of minutes, scoped me out, and then swooped onto the roof in front of me. Just bumped the edge there slightly. No, I'm trapped against the bank.